Hello, hello. Welcome to Pint of a Story with me, Shobit. In this podcast, we bring you pint-sized stories from indie authors such as myself that you are likely not to have read before. Links to where the stories live on the internet will be in the show notes or description, and we do encourage you to click on them and read the stories for yourself. Hope you enjoyed today's story, and if you do, please share it around and subscribe if you like. Tales of grandeur, immoral and pure, greed and secrets, passion and glory. The pulse is rising, the plot's surprising. You captivated, that's the point of the story. That certainly is the point of a story, and this week we are back with another story from Penmancy called Hello and Welcome to the Great Beyond. Written by Monica Singh and first published in February 2021 on penmancy.com. Penmancy.com is a website we deeply care about as they share the same passion as us, which is to provide indie stories a platform to reach as many people as possible. To read the story and many more, please visit penmancy.com. Your feedback or comments really matter, so please leave some, and I hope you like this one. Here goes. I never thought this was a real place, Geronimo said. Magpie shifted in her chair. I don't think anybody thought this place was real. Oh, I don't know, said Peregrine. I always had this feeling. I mean, it's obvious now, but even before I used to think this couldn't be it. There has to be more. Magpie stared at him. I'm sure that this, she gestured around the dank, damp, depressing room, wasn't what you had in mind. Not quite, Peregrine nodded. Magpie snorted. Her two companions were as different from each other as it was possible to be. While Geronimo, with his slight and short build, shifty baby blue eyes, and thatch of straw-colored hair, looked like a terrified, sniffling teenager, Peregrine looked like a cool, collected 20-something adolescent with a stocky, reassuring physique, thick arms, and a pair of bright grey eyes blinking through a mop of jet black hair. He was sprawled on his chair, legs crossed in front, hands beneath his head. He would repeatedly tilt his chair as far back as it would go and fall forward with a thump every other minute. It was annoying. Looking at him, you'd think he was about to take a power nap, not waiting in line for Judgment Day. Magpie didn't know what she looked like. There were no mirrors in the room. Nothing reflective anyway. She had thin wrists and ankles, a narrow waist. Her skin was smooth and unmarked, like a baby. The ends of her shoulder-length hair were deep chestnut brown. Although her skin didn't show any wrinkles or liver spots or any signs of aging, in her mind she felt young, probably somewhere around Nemo's age. They were dressed in similar navy blue overalls, white name tags stitched across their chest pockets. Hi, my name is Magpie. Call me Pie. Hi, my name is Geronimo. Call me Nemo. Hi, my name is Peregrine. Call me Green. The outfits were stupid, as were the names. What sort of a name was Magpie? Like, seriously? The room was nothing special either. It looked like a roughly hewn stone cave with exposed stone walls, blackened torch brackets in niches that held a couple of candles, and a grate on the far side of the wall that must have been a fireplace, although there was no fire burning in it. There was no furniture other than the 3 chairs upon which they sat. The polished wooden armchairs felt a bit off to Magpie. They didn't go with the room. They felt like someone had hastily assembled the furniture with whatever was available just before they had arrived. The chairs faced the only door in the room, a solid block of wrought iron, arched like a dome at the top and studded with rusty nails and faded artwork. I don't like it, Nemo whispered. I know. This place gives me the creeps, Magpie said. It's a room. It can't do anything to you, Peregrine yawned. Not that anything more could be done to you, seeing as you guys are pretty dead already. And you're not? Magpie retorted. Oh, me too, he nodded solemnly. Of course. Anyway, it's not the room. It's what's waiting for us out there that scares the bejesus out of me, Nemo groaned. Why? Did you do a lot of bad things when you were alive? Green asked. I can't remember. I mean, I know who I am, or was, but I can't remember anything specific. Not other people, the place where I lived. He looked at Magpie and Green. Can you? Magpie scrunched her face, trying to recall something of her past life. Well, life, but try as she might, the finer details slipped through the crevices of her mind like sand through fingers. Everything was mist and foggy colors. Nope, nothing. Me neither, Green agreed. It's all right, though. I suppose they have everything filed? He jerked his thumb at the door. I mean, that's kind of their job, isn't it? Magpie nodded absently. I guess. She stared at the door. The digital display next to the rusty door frame read, currently processing deceased number 385956837 to 496079488. Kindly stay inside and wait your turn. She looked at the fiery pink plastic token clutched in her hand, token number 50717805999. How long will we have to wait here? She asked the room at large. How soon do you think they'll process these many people? Souls? Doesn't matter, Green smirked. Dead, aren't you? Got somewhere to go? Magpie opened her mouth to argue, but thought better of it. She was dead, of that she had no doubt. The feeling, it was in her bones. She slumped back into her chair. Well, this was stupid. Hey, Pie, Green said thoughtfully, and Magpie scowled at him. What? She asked. He was reclining back on his chair, staring up at the dark, unseeable ceiling of the room. Do you think we are in hell? Hell? Nemo squeaked. Don't say that, man. Pie threw an angry look at Green. She didn't like this guy. There was something off about him, too. I don't think we are in hell, she said, looking around the room. We haven't been judged yet. This is just a waiting room. It's out there where they will weigh our good deeds and bad deeds and decide where we ought to go. You really think that's how it works? Grine stared at her. Pie shrank back. The stare was unnerving. His eyes looked like a dark, blank pool of nothing, an abyss. That's what everybody used to say up there, she shrugged. At least that's what I picked up. I never paid any attention to all this stuff. Who did, she thought. When you are alive, things like Judgment Day or Afterlife seem like foolish concepts. Some vague, aspirational fantasy that people tell each other to deal with death. Or more appropriately, not to deal with death. I don't want to go to hell, Nemo said. He looked so scared, I thought he'd break apart at the slightest touch. Calm down, Nemo. Whatever's out there, I'm sure it wouldn't be too bad. Green snorted. What's your problem? Pie demanded. Hell wouldn't be too bad, he rolled his eyes. Hell would be, well, like hell. Burning in eternal fires, frying in hot oil, rivers of despair, and walking on hot coals. There was a manic gleam in his eyes that Pie did not like. Stop it! Nemo screamed. He was trembling from head to foot. Tears seeped from his eyes and his nose ran. Please, let's not, he sniffed. Let's not talk about that, please. Pie glared at Green and shrugged as if to say, fine by me. Nobody spoke for a long time. Pie couldn't be sure how long. Time seemed fluid here. inconsistent. Sometimes it sped up, sometimes it dragged like a drunken sloth. She couldn't wrap her head around the strangeness to the room. It seemed like a haphazardly patched up idea of a room. The weird furniture didn't match. The digital door display just added to her frustration. Nothing seemed to belong here. They didn't belong here. Why couldn't they remember their lives? What was the point of having them wait there without any sense of time? Everything seemed too deliberate. But why? For what purpose? To confuse them? To hide something from them? She huffed in anguish. That's it. I'm going to go out and ask some questions. She stood up and walked towards the door. What? Nemo stammered, and he too stood up from his chair on wobbly legs. But the sign says we gotta wait inside. Pi shook her head. But we have been sitting here for so long, Nemo, and nothing is happening. I'm just going to look around and see if someone can help us. But what if there's something bad out there and it hurts you, or us? Nemo wailed. That's true, she thought. She didn't know what was out there. Were Nemo's fears really so unfounded? She looked at Green, and to her enormous frustration he yawned pointedly. Does it not bother you at all that you're dead? Do you not want to know where we are and why we are here? She asked him, incredulous at this laid-back approach to a situation that might end in eternity of pain. It almost seems like you're happy to be here. Green shrugged. So what if I am? I feel good. For the first time in what feels like years, I feel... He thought for a second. Nothing. I feel nothing, and it's good. So do me a favor, Pi, and stuff it. You stuff it, Pi hollered. She was pissed off. Fine. Stay here and rot, you jerk. I'm going. No! Nemo's cry echoed in the stone room. Pi jerked to a halt. Her hand stretched out to grab the iron doorknob. Nemo rushed towards her and started yanking at her hand to pull her back. No, Pi, he cried. Please, I'm so scared. What if we lose our turn at the judgment and get sent to hell? What if they catch you and you can't be judged? Please don't go. The sign says to stay inside. He was crying now, howling and begging her to step aside. She looked at Nemo and had a sudden wild urge to get away from this big, bawling baby, as if he was dirty. From the corner of her eyes, she saw Green was watching them with mild curiosity. Nemo, nothing bad is going to happen, she said in a calm, measured voice, trying to inject some of her confidence into him. We need to know what's out there, she said. I cannot explain it, but I know there is something wrong and we need to go out there and find out what it is. But... Nemo stared wildly around the room. But how can you be sure? What's wrong with the room? Nemo, it's just a feeling, she said, trying to put into words her sense of urgency. The silence that followed filled up the empty room. In the other corner, Green stepped off his chair, his expression inscrutable. Nemo gave a long, pitiful cry of despair, and his shoulders slumped. He wiped his face and looked at Pi. It's always something with you, isn't it? He said softly. What do you mean? She said. Well, out with it, Nemo said, his tone clipped, suddenly businesslike. Was it the decor? The dress code? What was it? I don't understand. Oh, foolish child, he sighed. Stop the act. There's nothing out there. Your judgment is long since done. You are sentenced to eternity in hell. In fact, this is your hell, and I am your keeper. Pi stared. She couldn't comprehend what Nemo was saying. It couldn't be possible. It just couldn't be. Nemo sneered and started pacing, throwing dirty looks at Pi like she was something nasty stuck into the underside of his boots. You have had about 507178059 cycles of punishment here. After the first few hundred years, I got bored. I mean, even a reaper deserves some entertainment. He spread his hands in a gesture of defeat, but the look of disgust on his face didn't gel well with it. So I did a bit of tinkering. I made it so that the room resets itself every 2 hours to very, very long hours. A different version every time. He looked at the room with something akin to affection and pride in his eyes. But you... He strode forward and looked down at her. She cowered in his shadow. She wondered how he had grown so much taller than her. You managed to figure out it was a sham. Even after I wiped your memory, gave you false identities, different lives. He shook his head, like he couldn't believe how anybody could do something so annoying. You figured it out. Every effing time. Pi felt the wind pick up inside the room. It whooshed around her in rapid bursts, and her eyes swam as her mind was seized with sudden flashes of memories. Room after room after room. The space around her morphed into an underground bunker, a submarine, a lavish apartment complex, a bar, an elevator, a lavatory, and on and on and on it went, the blurry outlines of the three of them in each setting. Her vision blurred. She gasped for breath and fell on her knees. Her head was about to burst with the weight of the memories, the realization that she had been here for an eternity and was going to be here for an eternity yet to come. No, she croaked. No, stop, please. Nemo drew a smallish notepad from his pocket and a pen from another. No, he said. What was it this time? Tell me. What gave it away? He seemed to be changing from a scared little boy into a hooded, impish, evil-looking creature. There was a sudden blur of movement across her peripheral vision, and a wooden chair flew across the room and hit with a loud splat onto Nemo's head. He crumpled to the floor. His notepad went down with him, and his ballpoint pen rolled away. Green stood panting behind him, looking at Nemo's unconscious form with contempt. It was you, Sunshine, he said. You gave it away. He spit on Nemo and walked towards Pi. You okay? He offered his hand and Pi took it. She stumbled onto her feet, her breathing ragged. You think he was telling the truth? He asked. She looked at him in shock, her eyes wide, her heart fluttering. You mean you didn't see all those things? The memories? He shook his head. And you still bonked him in the head with his own chair? He shrugged. He was starting to annoy me. They looked at the keeper in silence, neither wanting to broach the subject of what now? Eventually, Green sighed. Well, if he really is the keeper bloke, I guess the room will change in 2 hours. Pi nodded. Okay then, I don't know about you, but I don't want to be here when this guy wakes up. He grabbed her hand and grinned. You ready to see what's out there? For the first time since she'd awoken in this bizarre reality, Pi smiled. She squeezed his hand. I'm ready. Together, they opened the rusty old door and walked out into the darkness. So, we hope you liked that story enough to tempt you to subscribe. We encourage you to share it with anyone else you can think of that would like to hear our stories as well. But do not forget, it is the writers that make the stories, so please read them for yourself by clicking the link in the description. That'll mean the world to us. Thank you for your time, and we hope to see you with our next. In the meantime, remember, if you can't find what you're looking for, create it. Take care.